It's hard to imagine Captain America started off on a shoestring salary, but Chris Evans's career paychecks have rocketed faster than a Quinjet. You'd expect from the former Johnny Storm turned first Avenger. Spoiler, the top spot might surprise you more than Steve Rogers waking up in 2011. Let's dive in. Evans's smallest payday is up first, and you won't believe how not rich and famous it left him. 10. Knives Out, 2019. Swapping heroics for snark, Evans played trust fund brat Ransom Drysdale in Knives Out, complete with the world's most famous cable knit sweater. The whodunit was a massive hit, $311 million box office. But as part of an ensemble, Evans wasn't commanding MCU money here. It's not publicly known how much he made on Knives Out, but given the film's $40 million budget and a cast full of stars, Evans likely took a smaller salary, mid-seven figures or less, to be involved. He filmed this right after leaving Cap behind, perhaps eager to play a villain for a change. The result? An iconic performance, who can forget, eat shit, in 4 different ways, and proof he's more than just a clean-cut hero. The paycheck may not have been huge, but the cultural impact and meme-worthy sweater sales were priceless. From murder mysteries, we blast off to infinity and beyond. Well, at least to infinity. Chris lent his voice to a legendary space ranger next, securing a solid Disney payday that still, believe it or not, doesn't top our list. 9. Lightyear, 2022. Stepping into the boots of Buzz Lightyear Evans led Pixar's Lightyear. This one might surprise you. For all of Disney's wealth, Evans's paycheck was reportedly $2 million for voicing Buzz. Now, $2 million for a few days in a recording booth is nothing to sniff at. That's about 200 times what Tim Allen made for the original Buzz, according to one comparison. However, compared to his live-action blockbusters, this was a light year, pun intended, behind. The film itself underperformed. Disney even took a $106 million loss. But Evans' charismatic voicing wasn't to blame. He got to live out a childhood dream and cash a decent check for it. Still, it's clear his animation salary didn't reach the stars like some of his live-action roles. Ready for the real launch? Next, the Avengers assemble, and so do the much bigger paychecks. Evans' first ensemble, Marvel film, marked the point where his earnings truly took off from mere millions to, well, more millions. 8. The Avengers, 2012. Marvel's mega team-up. The Avengers shattered box office records, and Evans got a raise from his first Cap outing. But maybe not as much as you'd think for such a huge hit. According to reports, he earned around $2 to $3 million plus bonuses for the Avengers. That's a big step up from $300K, but still a bargain considering the film made $1.5 billion. In fact, at the time, Marvel's strategy was to keep upfront salaries relatively low. Evans and co. were expected to make $2 to $3 million on Avengers with some bonus tied to performance. Compare that to Robert Downey Jr.'s $50 million haul with back-end deals. Cap's paycheck was downright puny in contrast. Still, a few million for saving New York City isn't bad for a week's work, right? And it laid the groundwork for the serious renegotiations to come. A big bonus was on the horizon, but first, Evans continued his solo hero journey. With the Winter Soldier ahead, both Cap's story and Chris's salary were about to gain some serious momentum. 7. Captain America, The Winter Soldier, 2014. Widely regarded as one of the MCU's best, The Winter Soldier turned Captain America into a modern spy thriller icon. It also bumped Evans' salary into the multi-millions. Reports indicate Evans made roughly $3.2 million for this sequel. By now, Marvel knew what they had in him, and the paycheck reflected that growing value. Sure, it's still not Downey Jr. money, but it's a healthy raise that would make any SHIEL'd agent envious. This film's success, $7 and $14 million worldwide, cemented Evans as a leading man who could carry his own franchise. $3.2 million might seem paltry compared to later Avengers payouts, but for context, it's about 10 times what he got for Cap's first adventure. Not bad for a kid from Brooklyn, or rather, Boston. Of course, the real payday would come when Cap rejoined his super friends. Next up, an Avengers sequel where the threat and the salaries got even larger. Time to talk Ultron and upticks in those checks. 6. Avengers, Age of Ultron, 2015. By the time of Age of Ultron, Marvel's wallet was cracking open a bit more for its stars, albeit not evenly. Chris Evans reportedly took home about $6.9 million for donning the stars and stripes in this Avengers sequel. That's double what he earned in the first Avengers. Not too shabby for battling a sassy murder bot, but context is key. Scarlett Johansson received around $20 million, and RDJ soared above everyone with $40 million. So while Cap's just under $7 million was a nice boost, and certainly a monster paycheck to us mere mortals, among the Avengers, he was still catching up. The film's massive budget and ensemble cast meant Marvel was juggling a lot of zeros, just mostly in Iron Man's favor. Still, we'd call $6.9 million for a few months of work a heroic haul for Evans, showing his pay trajectory was only going upward. Upward indeed, and it was about to hit stratospheric heights. But first, after Ultron's mayhem, Evans took a break from team-ups to try something new, a high-octane romantic caper for Apple. The result? A paycheck that proved his post-Marvel career could be just as profitable. 5. Ghosted, 2023. Proving he doesn't need a shield to cash in, Evans earned a cool $10 million for the action rom-com Ghosted. In this Apple TV Plus film, he plays a boyfriend in distress, a fun flip of his damsel-saving image, alongside Ana de Armas. The movie might have been, well, ghosted by critics, but it paid Chris like a star. In fact, Evans not only headlined, but also produced the film, which likely sweetened his deal. This paycheck showed that even outside the MCU, Evans can command an 8-figure salary for the right project. To put that in perspective, $10 million is more than all his Captain America, the first Avenger and Avengers 2012 salaries combined. The film's budget was reportedly around $55 million, so Evans's fee was a significant chunk. Apple was clearly happy to splurge on some Captain America charm. $10 million for a non-superhero romantic adventure? Not bad at all. But now, let's rewind to when Evans was still deep in the MCU, because as high as $10 million sounds, his Marvel farewell tours would blow that out of the water. Ready for the final trio of Avengers-sized paychecks? Assemble, we shall. 4. Captain America, Civil War, 2016. You could call Civil War Avengers 2.5, and Marvel pretty much paid Evans like it was. He pocketed $15 million for leading Team Cap against Team Iron Man. By now, Chris had renegotiated his contract, and this film was part of the deal that finally pushed him into the 8-figure club. The Hollywood Reporter learned his Civil War salary was $15 million, matching what he'd later earned for the final Avengers films. For Evans, that's a superpowered leap from the early days. The film itself grossed over $1.1 billion, and while Downey Jr., as a special edition, reportedly earned significantly more, $15 million solidified Chris as one of Hollywood's top-paid actors at the time. Not bad for a small fee Marvel hire turned cornerstone of the franchise. I'll say, in short, Civil War was a jackpot for Evans, both financially and as an acting highlight, and it set the stage for an even grander finale. You might think $15 million is the peak, but guess what? Cap held that line through the end of the Infinity Saga, and those final 2 Avengers movies not only changed the game for our heroes, they cemented Chris Evans' status in the $15 million per film stratosphere, onward to the Infinity War. 3. Avengers, Infinity War, 2018. The beginning of the end for the Avengers was the beginning of truly massive paydays for Evans. For Infinity War, he, along with some fellow OG Avengers, had renegotiated deals resulting in about $15 million each per film. This was confirmed by multiple sources, including Hollywood Reporter, which noted that both Evans and Chris Hemsworth secured $15 million for Infinity War as part of their new contracts. Finally, Captain America's paycheck was as hefty as his biceps. The film itself was a gigantic crossover event, and Evans' salary reflected his importance in the ensemble. It's worth noting that $15 million was the flat fee up front, and while he didn't have RDJ-style back-end points, it still contributed to him earning $34 million in 2018 alone. By now, $15 million had become something of a standard for top Marvel leads. For example, Chadwick Boseman was set to earn similar for Black Panther 2. For Evans, it was vindication. All those years in the star-spangled boots led to this monster check. And yet, one film still remained in the saga, and it was even bigger. You might be wondering, did Endgame up the ante further? The answer? Possibly yes, even if just slightly. Let's close out the MCU era with the record-breaking finale and see how Evans' earnings stacked up in the end. Game 2. Avengers Endgame 2019. By Endgame, Chris Evans was firmly in the $15 to $20 million range per film. In fact, it's reported he also made about $15 million for Endgame, the same ballpark as Infinity War. Some sources suggested he and Hemsworth were able to negotiate toward the $20 million mark each for these final outings. Either way, this paycheck was astronomically higher than the $300K he started with as cap. And let's not forget, Endgame became the highest grossing film of all time for a period. So if any bonuses or back end existed, those could have pushed his earnings higher still. While Downey reportedly walked away with up to $75 million, thanks to profit shares, Evans' roughly $15 million plus payday was a sweet send-off for his Marvel tenure. It's poetic. Steve Rogers might not care about money, but Chris Evans definitely got the financial happily ever after here. From first Avenger to final curtain call, he secured the bag. So $15 to $20 million per film. That must be the peak, right? For a long time, yes. But then along came Netflix with a blank check and a dream of a spy thriller. And guess what? They wrote a number on that check that outdid even Marvel's best offer. Drumroll for our number one, The Gray Man, 2022. Who needs a shield when you have a villainous stash and Netflix paying you a cool $20 million? That's right. Evans scored $20 million up front for The Gray Man, the 2022 Russo brothers action flick. This is reportedly his biggest single movie paycheck to date, matching co-star Ryan Gosling's $20 million haul for the same film. In The Gray Man, Evans chews the scenery as a sociopathic assassin in tight pants, a role he clearly relished. Netflix ponied up Marvel-level cash to lure Captain America into their spy franchise, proving streaming services will spend whatever it takes for A-list talent. Critics were mixed on the movie, but nobody was mixed on Evans' performance, or his ability to command top dollar outside the MCU. With $20 million in his pocket, Chris Evans has officially joined the elite $20 million club for film salaries, a testament to his bankability. From $300K as a fresh-faced cap to $20 million as a charismatic baddie, what a journey it's been. Bold, witty, and loaded with talent, and now cash, Chris Evans has shown that a career can catch fire in the most unexpected ways. His paychecks grew from microscopic to monstrous, but through it all, he's kept that sharp humor and charm that fans adore. Whether he's saving the world or stealing scenes as an antagonist, studios know he's worth every penny. And he's got the bank statements to prove it. So what do you think? Did any of these paycheck revelations surprise you? If you enjoyed this rundown of Chris Evans' road to blockbuster riches, give this content a like and share it with your fellow movie buffs. Drop a comment about which Evans role is your favorite or which salary made your jaw drop. And if you want more fun, insightful dives into Hollywood hits and salaries, hit that subscribe button. We promise to keep the energy high, the facts sharp, and the one-liners flying. And after all, in the wise words of Captain America, I can do this all day.